Dear colleagues, I'm happy to welcome you at the conference Caritive Constructions in the Languages of the World. Well, when we started to organize this conference more than 1 year ago, we were joking that the conference on caritives will be held without something important. Unfortunately, these jokes came true, and this conference is now without our institute. And what is more important, it is without some of the participants and without Thomas Stolz, who was supposed to give a lecture here, but finally he refused to do it because of this format. But nevertheless, we are here and we have met each other in Zoom. And I wish all of us to spend these 3 days having nice talks and learning a lot interesting and inspiring facts about caritives. You are welcome. Now I would like to tell about some organizational things, probably to remind about some of them. Well, first, about our abstracts. We haven't published the book of abstracts yet, but you can download a preliminary file, preliminary abstracts from the web page of the conference. And when it will be published, we will let you know. Then, well, you know that there is a Google Drive, Google folder, where participants are welcome to upload their presentations. So please send your presentations before the talk to email of the conference, and we will upload it to this folder so that everybody could use it during the talk or after the talk. Well, of course, it is not obligatory. If you prefer not to share your materials, you can do that. Then, as for discussions, so we made a workspace in Slack platform, and participants who would like to discuss their talks in Slack can make a channel with their own names. For example, I already created a channel called Oskolskaya, and I have uploaded my presentation there as well. So you're welcome to come to Slack and to comment, to ask questions there after the talks and whenever you want. And also, Zoom conference will work during all the breaks. So if you want to discuss something connected to the talks or not connected to the talks, you are welcome to do it during the breaks. I would also like to remind you that we are going to record videos. If you wouldn't like to record the video of your talk, please tell us. We won't do that. So actually now this conference is already recording, but so if you mind, please let us know. I think that's all. We still have 4 minutes before the beginning of the first session. If you have some questions about organization of the conference, please, you can ask them now. Well, I remember one more thing important. So if you want to ask a question after the talk, I recommend to write in the chat box the word question or вопрос or something like that. And then it will be easier for chair to see all the people who would like to ask questions in one place. Okay, so we can wait for 3 minutes, and if you have some questions, you can ask them.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, welcome everybody. Good morning, afternoon, or whatever in the location where you are. It's my pleasure to introduce the first group of talks. Well, I remind you that if you have any questions, please write the word question in the chat. So at the end of the talk, we will have some time for discussions. We have talks of 40 slots of 45 minutes, where the last 15 minutes are for questions, and slots of 30 minutes, where the last 10 minutes are for questions. So we have enough time. And well, let's introduce our first speaker. The first talk will be by Sofia Oskolskaya from the Institute of Linguistic Studies of the Russian Academy of Sciences in St. Petersburg. And her talk is Typological Study of Caritives, an Overview and Methodology of Research.
Can you see my presentation? So, good morning, good afternoon, once again. Now I would like to present our project, our typological study of caritives. So you can see a mascot of our project. The project is officially called Grammatical Periphery in the Languages of the World, a typological study of caritives. There is quite a big team of people who work in this project, and I would like to thank you all for helping, and especially I would like to thank Ezekiel Kolle for helping me to make this presentation. This project is supported by grant by the Russian Science Foundation, and it is carried out at the Institute for Linguistic Studies in St. Petersburg. And you can see the link to the web page of the project. So why I decided to present our project, the reason is that actually it is due to this project we decided to organize the conference because we are interested in different ways of expression of caritives, and we would like to learn more from different scholars who are also interested in this topic. It is now the middle of the third year of the project, so it is still a work in progress. We don't have good results yet. I will just describe what we are doing, what is the methodology of the project, and I will present some very preliminary results. So first I will describe the general goal of the project, then I will try to explain what we mean by caritive. Then I'm going to present our questionnaire, the sample, and finally I will present some preliminary results. So the main question that we're interested in is how caritive semantics is expressed in the languages of the world. Well, of course, here we assume that caritive semantics can be expressed in any language. Probably it is our own assumption, but yet we could find different ways of expressions of caritives. So, and this main goal implies some more concrete tasks, questions, such as what is the distribution of different types of caritive constructions? So how often caritive semantics is expressed by a dedicated or grammaticalized construction, and how often languages don't have any specific markers or constructions. Are there any areas of such languages that prefer to have grammaticalized constructions or not? Also, we are studying grammatical features of caritive expressions. So are there any typical grammatical features like more common syntactic position of caritive phrase or something else? And we also research the semantics that can be expressed by caritives. For example, whether it expresses the absence of a companion. For example, he came without his wife. Or of a possessum, he came without money. Or some other meanings, probably marginal meanings for caritives. So, and of course, the list of questions can be continued. Well, we don't distinguish between different terms of caritive. So for us, caritive, abassive are the same. Well, privative is also often used in this meaning, but it also has different meanings. And there are also some more marginal terms for expressing this meaning caritive. Well, we define the comparative concept as follows. Caritive describes non-involvement, including but not limited to absence of a participant. We call this participant absentee in a situation with a non-involvement predication semantically modifying the situation or a participant of a different situation. Let's look at example. So it's an example from English. For example, I saw a man without beard. Without is a caritive marker. Or I saw a beardless man. Here the caritive marker is the suffix less. So we can say that there is a participant which is absent. It is beard. Beard is an absentee, and this absence of a beard modifies a man. And a man is a participant of a different situation. Situation. I saw a man. So another important thing that is not included in this formulation, but it seems that caritive markers imply it. It seems that the caritive markers always semantically express low-level negation together with an additional operator that takes some term and converts it into a negated predication. It usually inserts this term into some abstract relational predicates such as have, be, accompanied, use, or some others. So again, let's see examples. For example, a man without money or a penniless man. We can rephrase this example as a man who does not have money. So there is a term man, and it is modified by a negated predication of possession, which has a term money as its argument. So schematically, you can see this definition on the slide. There's a term money, predication to have money, that is also added by this caritive marker. And this predication is being negated, not to have money, which is also expressed by the same caritive marker. And it modifies another term, a man. So our definition implies that predicative expressions of negative possession do not fit it. For example, John does not have a car. It is not a caritive construction according to our definition. And we made it on purpose because we wanted to distinguish between caritives and negative existentials. Although it turns out that caritives can be used in predicative functions very often, we prefer to consider these uses as peripheral. Well, of course, this definition is not something that we consider like the truth that can be changed. So it's more like a working definition that we formulated to try to do a topological comparative research. Well, of course, terms caritive or abusive can be used wide and in some other senses. For example, sometimes it is used to mark adjectives, caritive adjectives like empty, bold, but it's another topic. And according to our definition, these adjectives do not fit because absent is not expressed here. But well, we did it only to make our field of research more narrow. We can look at the proper caritive uses. As I said, we don't consider predicative uses proper caritive, it is peripheral, but other syntactic uses of caritives fit our definition. It is attributive use, like I saw a beardless man. Adverbial dependent use, like John opened a can without a knife. And a co-predicative, well, it is also can be called as depictive or secondary predicative use, like John came without money. The difference between co-predicative and other uses is that here the absence, this caritive phrase without money refers both to the whole situation, so it describes the situation John came, but it also describes co-participant John. So we also say that John was without money. We use a term caritive expression, and I think I already used it in my talk today. It is a way of expression of the caritive meaning, and it can combine. It combines with an item that expresses absentee but doesn't include it. For example, in English, caritive expressions are preposition without or suffix less, and English has dedicated caritive expressions, but we also include in our research not dedicated expressions, such as expressions from Gban, South Mandela language. You can see it in the example that literally could be translated as he didn't come to the market with money. So actually here caritive is expressed with a combination of negation and commutative marker. We developed a questionnaire to collect data from the languages of the world. You can find the last version of the questionnaire at our webpage. It is a table in Excel format, and it also has a file with detailed comments on it. This questionnaire includes a list of parameters of caritive expressions. They refer to grammar, semantics, and just a couple of questions are about information structure. When we fill in the questionnaire, we mark every parameter. We give some value like 1 or 0, which means whether this parameter exists in this language or doesn't exist, or no data, or irrelevant if, for example, this parameter is irrelevant because of grammatical structure of the language. We also include notes to this information. We give a language example with glosses, translations, and of course the source of the examples and of the information. Now I will go into detail about the different parameters of the questionnaire. First, grammatical parameters. They include level of expression of the caritive marker. Is it expressed as a part of the word, like English less, or a part of a constituent, like English without, or a part of a clause, and there are a couple more options. We also regard morphological properties of the caritive marker with respect to the morpheme expressed in absentee. So is it an affix, like again, less in English? Is it a clitic or adposition, like without, or is it a separate clausal syntactic constructions, construction like a negational construction in Gban? Then we'll look at morphosyntactic properties of the absentee. For example, is it possible to add dependence? Is it possible to say, I saw a man without a long beard, for example? Is it possible to express some gramimes of inflectional categories? For example, is it possible to add a plural number marker? We also look at the compatibility with different word classes, whether this construction can combine with nouns, pronouns, non-finite verb forms, or with some other word classes. Productivity of the construction, syntactic functions of the caritive phrase, attributed, verbal dependent. We're also interested whether predicative position is also possible, although we regard it as peripheral. Dedicated nature of the construction of the expression. And in case of not dedicated constructions, we're interested whether this construction is equal to negative predicative possessive construction, or to standard negation construction, or to some other constructions. And then etymology of dedicated markers. The next part is semantical parameters. So we're interested in animus of the absentee, whether it is possible to use this expression with non-animate, with animate, with personal nouns. Definiteness of the absentee, different absentee's functions, like companion, instrument, body part. We also include here additional functions that are not caritive, but sometimes caritive markers can express these functions, like participant exception. Restrictions on the type of an anchor participant or a predicate, type of caritive situation, whether it is temporary or permanent, like house without windows is supposed to be temporary, or no, sorry, permanent, while John came without money because he left this money at home, is supposed to be temporary. Involvement of the absentee, whether absentee is absent or it just does not participate in the situation. For example, I opened the can without a knife. It could happen even if I had a knife, but I decided to open it without a knife. And finally, information structure, whether caritive phrase can occur in topic or focus. Now, a few words about our sample. So we tried to collect a genetically balanced sample. It includes only 100 languages because it was quite time consuming to collect the data. Well, we also collected several additional questionnaires, and we're still keeping on collecting new data, but these questionnaires are not included in our basic sample. So when we made a sample, we based on methodology proposed by Dreyer, and where main sampling item is genus. And so we tried to make the sample in the way that the proportion of languages from different families and macro areas remained in the sample. Here you can see a map. Different macro areas have different colors, so it's our sample. You can also check the full list of this sample at the web page of our project. So we collected questionnaires in field working with the speakers. Well, we managed to collect the data only for 13 languages, which is a very small part of our sample. We also tried to use corpora of texts, but it is still, there are still not enough corpora, especially glossed corpora with translations into English, to make a representative sample of the languages. And of course, we use grammar descriptions and vocabularies. So, well, one of the main problems was to find a caritive expression in languages without a dedicated caritive marker. For example, if it is usually expressed by a negative existential. And now we have more than 100 Excel files of these questionnaires. It is our database. We are going to make it available online. Later, I can't promise concrete time, but I hope that at least before May, it will be available and we will publish it. And well, of course, new questionnaires are welcome. So if anybody would like to collect a questionnaire, we will be happy. And now some preliminary, mostly descriptive results. So now we have 102 questionnaires, 100 languages from the sample, plus Khilmari and Kazakh, languages of Russia that are not included in the basic sample. And these questionnaires include 185 caritive expressions because, well, some of the languages have more than one caritive expression. And the results below, these preliminary results, are based on the 93 languages and 173 caritive expressions, because some of the questionnaires are not in updated format, so we couldn't calculate fast all the information we needed. In the table at the bottom of the slide, you see the amount of caritive expressions per language. So most often languages have one caritive expressions, 55 languages, and have one language that has 11 different caritive expressions. Of course, not all of them are dedicated, and they appear by combinations of different suffixes and other syntactic items. So one of the questions of our project is how dedicated and not dedicated constructions are distributed over the world. So for now, 46 languages from our sample have a dedicated expression, or it is more correct to say that they have at least one caritive expression which is dedicated, because some languages can have 2 or 3 and only one of them is dedicated. And 47 languages with not dedicated expressions. So the numbers are very close to each other. And
5 minutes left.
well, I would like to know that some languages have a basic non-dedicative caritive expression and a marginal dedicated caritive expression. For example, it's the case of Gunyandi, a Northern Australian language, where the most neutral way to express caritive is a negative existential marker Marlami, like in this example, example 7. But there is also a special dedicated caritive suffix winya, which is not productive, and it is used much less frequently. So, well, we include both of them to our sample. Okay, this is the map of dedicated or not dedicated expressions. Well, most of the questionnaires that are in outdated format belong to Eurasia. That's why you see so few languages from Eurasia. But you can believe me that all of them have dedicated markers. Well, and probably everybody knows that a lot of Eurasian languages have dedicated markers, like Uralic languages, Indo-European, Altaic languages. So it seems that there is an area of such dedicated markers in Eurasia here. Another area that we can notice here is Africa, where there are very few dedicated markers. So of course, if we had a bigger sample, we would have more information about it and more robust distribution. So non-dedicated constructions, what are they? Okay, we'll show all of them. So in 28 constructions or caritive expressions are equal to negative existential construction, which is used in expressions like there are no dragons, for example. 20 expressions are equal to standard or verbal negation constructions. 15 are equal to negative possessive construction. 10 are equal to negation of commutative, and there are also 6 other options. So what was surprising for me here is that negation of commutative is not the most common way to express caritive. We could expect it because caritive is often regarded as a negation of commutative semantically, but syntactically it's not the case. So on this map you can see 14 or even less languages that have borrowed markers. Sorry, I have very little time, that's why I will go faster. Level of expression of the caritive markers. It includes both dedicated and not dedicated. The most often way to express caritive markers are as a part of a constituent, so it's like English without. It appears in 69 expressions. And also the most common way to express caritive marker is as a part of additional auxiliary clause. Most of these cases refer to non-dedicated constructions.
We're running out of time, so you can take a few minutes from the questions.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, these are the last slides. What can we do with our database? Also, we can make a hypothesis that there might be some kind of correlation between possible syntactic position and semantic functions. For example, we can assume that English suffix less appears more common in attributive position, well, the caritive phrase with less, and it can't refer to companions. We can't say he was wifeless at the party. The problem with our database is that we have very little negative data, so very few zeros for parameters, but still we can try to withdraw some information. So if we assume that no data is like zeros. It is a very rough assumption, of course, but still. We can compare the numbers, how these constructions are used. So, well, I present a very rough analysis. I don't mean a statistical correlation. I haven't run statistical analysis, but you can just look at these numbers. So when a caritive expression can be used in attributive position, so it is 1 here, it can mean companion in 35 cases and possessio, possessum in 67. And when it can't be used in attributive position, or there is no data about it, the numbers are vice versa. So the number for companion is bigger than for possessee. If we compare it, the same data for adverbial or co-predicative position, well, the number for companion seems to be a bit higher, but probably more clear or more obvious data for correlation between derivational affix and semantic function. So again, if the caritive expression is a derivational affix, it is less likely to mark companion. So of course, it's very rough preliminary data, and later I hope that we can find more robust results. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonia. And there are a few questions already in the chat. And please, if somebody else has more questions, write at least the word question. So first, there was a discussion between, can you hear me? Can you hear me well? Okay,
yes.
Sorry. There was a discussion between Peter Arkadiev and Maxim Fedotov about the classification of the caritives, but it seems to be closed. So I will start with the open questions and then we can go back there if we have the time. You can read it from the chat. So Natalia Perkova asks about this descriptive statistics, the last numbers you shown. Maybe Natalia, do you want to ask it, or we can read it from the chat?
Sorry, it was just a comment to Timur, I think. So I think Sonia can either approve my comment or disapprove it. So it's just that there are no languages with 11 caritive expressions, but it was rather the position of these features in the questionnaire. So 10 and 11. Right?
No.
You have it on the map. No?
So if
because it looks like because it looks like there are many languages that have 11. No.
Oh no, sorry. I think
maybe
it's,
there were just 2 places.
No, in the map, on the map it said 10 and 11, but that had to do with the number of questions. So
yeah, this is what I mean.
Forget that. It's just dedicated, non-dedicated. But there was one language with 11
in the table.
markers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then it's true. Okay.
Yeah. So it's these were different 11s.
Yes.
Okay. I see a question by from Timur.
Yes,
it is Lesbian language, and well, of course, it's not the case that there are 11 suffixes, but we decided to regard as different caritive expressions the combination of some suffix or some caritive marker with other suffixes that appear when we should use it in as attribute or as adverb, because these constructions are morphologically different, and we regarded them separately.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting.
We have still like 10 minutes of question. If anybody else has a new question, or if you want to discuss this about the resultative case, the question by Peter. So keep. Oh, somebody raised a hand.
Ora has question.
Yes, please, Ora.
Sorry, I used a different option. I didn't know whether it would work or not. I have a question about something like the committee met without its chair. What would you treat without its chair as in this situation? Like if you're distinguishing, it seems, adjuncts and arguments, and here I'm just wondering what you're treating it as.
You mean semantic function? Yeah, well, Maxim already replied that we would treat it as companion because, well, both committee and chair were supposed to meet, to function as agents. But, well, of course, in many cases, there are no clear border between like possession and companions. Yeah.
There is also a question. There's also a question by Marin Kejic. Sorry for the pronunciation. Do you want to ask it aloud, or we read it from here?
Okay, I'm live now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, just to reiterate what I had already asked here in the chat box, my question is, were these semantic roles taken from a particular tradition, or were they tailor-made for the data you had collected? I mean, they seem very interesting. I'm just wondering about the theoretical background, so to speak.
Thank you very much. First, when we started to collect the data, we made a list of possible semantic functions based on the same list of that were used for typological study of caritives by Alexander Arkhipov, and also we based on some descriptions from Thomas Stolz's book on caritives. And then we, while collecting new data, we changed this list and added some functions. For example, there is one function that appears quite often, and we decided to make a separate line for it. Is like the absence of food or drinks in context that he couldn't survive without food. And in some cases where we don't have enough data, it appears that this caritive marker, well, some caritive marker is used only in this context. So that's why we decided to make a separate line, because it seems to be important for caritive.
Thank you very much for your answer.
We still have a few minutes. Okay, there's a technical question by Ora. It's about, well, the slides and handouts will be made available.
Yes, so we will make available all the slides and handouts if the speakers don't mind to make it available. Well, now my handout and also maps that I used in slides are uploaded in Google folder. I will give a link in chat, maybe just after my talk. And also in the Slack platform, I also uploaded my materials. So you're welcome to use it.
We may also share the chats, which we are recording, because the people are commenting interesting stuff. For example, Maxime put the list of all 11 markers in Lesbian, so that might be relevant. We have just a few more minutes. Any last short question? I have one question. You invite people to share, to fill a questionnaire of their language of their expertise. How does it work? Just download the questionnaire and start filling it, or they have to contact you or ask for any advice on how to do it?
Well, of course, now the questionnaire form is available on the webpage, so you can just download it and fill it in. But it's better to contact us because we are collecting some new questionnaires for now, and we didn't put any information on our webpage about these languages, so that it wouldn't be that you are going to collect the same language as is being collected now.
Thanks. Anything else? We have 2 more minutes. Otherwise, we just wait until the time is ready for next talk. Yes,
a comment, a follow-up to the question about the committee which met without the chair. It's actually a very tricky one. I'm thinking about it right now, and yeah, I think the term companion is the closest thing to what we would code it right now, but the difference from more typical companion examples, such as John came without his wife, is here that really we can understand the chair as also part of the committee. So it is a tough one. We probably need to think more about it. Thank you.
Okay, we can wait 1 more minute just to start on time and nobody misses the beginning of the next talk.
But can I share my screen already?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for discussion and questions.
Thank you.
Are we clapping? Yes. Let's do it like in a live conference.